Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to our lesson 3, cultural variations and social differences in ethnicity and religion. So, in this lesson, being part of the culture in a way makes us integrated with other people whom we share same culture. Tapos, however, identification in one also determines our differences from the cultures. So, in this lesson, ma-analyze nato on how culture sharing makes us the same but also different from one another. Okay, this is actually ano kasi warm up. Okay, when I say uh, ethnicity, ethnic groups and race. Okay, when we say ethnic group, it refers to what? Specific group of people. Okay ha? A specific group of people having certain similar characteristics and a distinct cultural identity na ma-distinguish nato sila from other groups in the community or in the society. So when I say it group na siya similar, the same sila og characteristic, na sila distinct cultural identity nga makaingon ta nga kana sila manubo na sila, kana sila ablaan na sila, kana sila kay mansaka na sila, kana Muslim na sila. Sige ana siya. And also malahi nato sila sa uban. Makabalo dayon ta nga kana sila manobo na sila, dili na sila mansaka nganong man, it's because natay basis sa ilaha nganong kuan na sila different, na sila distinct cultural identity. So in Tagalog, Ilocano, Ifugao, Kapampangan are all examples of ethnic groups. Okay, well, ethnic groups refers directly to a category or collection of people. Ang term naman nga ethnicity is used to denote the shared culture of these groups, which includes cultural heritage, language, dialect, religion, traditions, rituals, and norms, values, beliefs, and other practices. Sige, balik ta ha. Ang ethnicity daw ginagamit siya to denote the shared culture of these groups. Ma-denote nato ang shared culture ani na groups. Having an ethnicity makes it easy for people to feel that they can identify with an ethnic group. In other words, the shared culture or ang ethnicity, other term, of a group of people is what solidifies the identity as ethnic group. Interestingly, it is also ethnicity that enables an individual to separate and distinguish himself from the other groups which he is not part. So actually, dili ko party ana. That's the term ethnicity. So, yun ma-distinguish na mo imong self na dili ka party ana nga grupo. So, that's ethnicity. When we say race naman, it's a socially constructed category attributed to the people who share the same biological traits or attributes. Balik ta. Race is socially constructed category attributed to the people who share the same biological traits or attributes. Biological traits and attributes. Okay. Say biological, it's naa sa dugo. People classification of race are usually based on physical characteristics. Basically, pag negro, usually dark color sila. So that's example of race. People's classification, skin color, facial features, hair texture, di ba? Usually, ang mga negro, they have this dark colors. Para sa ko, dark colors. So, irana siya. And kulot. So, usually, irana siya. And some commonly known as racial attributes such as black, white, or Asian. It is important to remember that even though race is based on biological characteristics, the concept is still socially constructed. When we say socially constructed, it is created within the society itself. It's what the society or the standard of the society has labeled to be. Do you remember the answer of the answer of katong recently Miss Universe god si Zuzibini Tunzi, katong ana siya nga ang what is gusto niya i-change into society is katong kuan kasi katong leadership. Ang iyang answer is leadership because dili siya bawal, dili siya bawal sa ilahang kuan pero mao man gud ang gilabel sa society. That's what we call socially constructed. Mao man gud ang tan-aw sa mga ang society ana nga particular concept. So kaya mao na siya ang naandan. So that's socially constructed. Okay. Meaning, pasabot niya, it's still the society that decides which or whether which physical characters are significant enough to get a label or a name. Differentiating race and ethnicity is actually not the difficult since they have different bases. Race is constructed from biological characteristics while ang ethnicity constructed from cultural traits. So, magbase dyan siya sa cultural traits. Remember that ethnic groups are collection of people while ethnicity refers directly to the collection of shared cultural characteristics. Next is race and ethnicity are both socially constructed. However, race is based on biological traits while ethnicity is based on cultural ones. Okay. Another difference between two is that the trace tends to be more unitary or singular, while ethnicities tend to be diverse. Nga naman siya. When we say unitary, it's single or singular. When we say ethnicities naman, tend to be diverse. What do you mean by diverse? When we say diverse, daghan siya klase-klase. So that's what we call diverse. Example ana, the different ethnicities like Russian, Irish, and Italian may belong to one race which is white. Diba? They are all whites. However, there are also instances where the ethnicity could include more than one race. Example ana, kanang mga French, because French people can be considered as one of the ethnic groups since they are nag-share sila og same culture, practices, and traditions, but members of this particular ethnic group include people with black or white racial background. Kuha? Okay. Ethnic and linguistic groups in the Philippines. Naman nung kalitok, uy. Ethno-linguistic. Okay. The Philippines is undeniably a diverse country as it is a home for more than 100 ethnic or ethno-linguistic groups. Examples are ethnic groups with their own languages. Daghan matag mga languages, diba? These groups possesses different combinations of cultural characteristics, traditions, and practices. Majority of them have already adjusted in urban way of living. So, para sa ako, we have neighbor. Actually, in our community or sa among lugar, kami lang ang actually murag kami lang among family ang ma-distinguish nga murag kami lang ang good na sagol dito because mostly sa among ang mga silingan is mansaka, pero actually they have their distinct language na gina-istorya, pero ilang way of living is kanang the same na gud sa ato. Okay na siya kanang kon mas kwartahan pa gani, mas mga kwartahan na gani sila sa nag-adjust na sila into urban way of living, while other remain to be more tuned in the indigenous roots and heritage. Like for example, the other kining ethnic groups distinguish gapon kanang I was working in the DSWD kasi kato sa 4Ps, ma-distinguish gapon ako nga naa gyapon indigenous groups or indigenous people na they practice talaga their ethnicity and katong practices, katong mga gipang suot nila, katong language nila. Actually, language itself is kanang kuan man na siya, kanang nanana siya dira, pero the way of living kasi it matters a lot in particular ethnic group. So naagya po ethnic groups nga gina-preserve gyapon nila ilahang culture. Actually they are all preserving, pero naman gay uban para atong mga para sa mga silingan Actually pag magkuan sila dili sila mailan ngayon ana sila mansaka sila. Pero pag may istorya sila or kanang may istorya sila mailan imo sila. Pero lahi mong gutong namang to mga ethnic groups nga naadjud sila sa kuan makita ganin mo sa ilang suot pa lang daan sa ilang kinabuhat pa lang daan. Na sila na ay mga inana nga certain types of ethnic groups. Okay, sa Cordillera alone, there are several ethnic groups such as ang Bontok, Ibaloy, Ifugao, Ikalahan, Isneg, Itneg, Kalinga, and Kankanai. Okay, the majority of them have agriculture as the main source of living. Basically, mao man jud ni ang kuan nila main living. And this is due to the geographical location in the mountains which possesses fertile lands appropriate for planting. So yan ana siya kadito man sila nagpuyo. So basically ilahang way of living is agriculture. Kung sa dagat pud sila, kapin sila sa dagat, pwede pod fishing, so yan ana siya. It differs upon geographical location kasi. So several more ethnic groups are located in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So here is the example. The picture, have you have seen the picture? Kisa man siya si Apo Wong Ud. 'Di ba? Actually dream jud nako siya pod nga adtuon. Kay balag isa lang jud katuldok jud magkanang koan. Actually ano man gud siya, part of ano na jud siya, culture of the Philippines. So yun ana siya. Apo Wang Od is the oldest mambabatok. Pasabot sa mambabatok, it's the hand poke twist. So, iyang gamit kay katong kuan ba, katong traditional way of pagtato god sa kalinga. So, yan ana siya. So, what do you think? Can you name other examples of ethnic or groups? So, unsa pa man yung mga nabalaan nga mga ethnic groups? Diba? There are a lot of ethnic groups, pero kaya naman natin mga festivals because of kanang isa sa kanang kuan is pas to to celebrate the diversity of the Philippines in the ethnicity of the Philippines. Kaya naatay mga festivals nga kanang gina-celebrate. Isa sa reason is katong rich ethnic groups in the Philippines. So, religion and ethnicity. Religion is a part of one's culture, can also be considered as one of the aspects of individual's ethnicity. So, ang religion is a set of beliefs and a ritual practices related to what? Symbols which are considered as sacred. For example, we have in the Catholic religion, they have this considered kanang mga mga statues, mga unsa pa na siya, mga rebulto, which them as a kining part sa ilahang part as their way of kining ginahimo nila or gina-practice nila ang religion. So ethnic groups may have different symbols also which they considered sacred, katong mga pagano good, and so ganito yung mga terms ato good. Then and the differences of these symbols also entail differences on how these symbols are expressed in a cultural groups, beliefs, and di ba na uban katong sa una to mga pagano, itong mga ancestors nato nga atong mga sakahoy god ginaukit nila ang mga pagans, tapos dito sila nagasamba, ginasayaw-sayaw nila, nagasayaw sila. So this is their way of kanang kuan kini celebrating their religion. So these beliefs influence on how people would interpret and interact with the world which they live. Okay. One of the earliest recorded religions in the society is animism. Among hunting and gathering societies in the pre-industrial world. When we say animism, it is the belief that spiritual forces resides in natural elements of physical world. Example, mga kahoy, mga oceans, and of course, kanang hangin. So, ginasamba na nila. That's what we called animism. As a result, such elements were considered sacred, which invoke veneration and respect for nature. So, Ayan siya. The concept of God and gods eventually developed in the horticultural and agricultural societies. Karon, in contemporary world we live in, innumerable religions are already established across the world, having different sets of beliefs, natay klase-klase nga beliefs. We have different rituals, different gods, and sacred symbols. So among these religions today are what? Christianity, katong those who believe in Jesus, that's what we call Christianity. Islam, those katong ginatawag nato nga mga Muslims, and they who believe in Allah. Judaism, Hinduism, kana siya. In Asian countries, very ano kay na sila, kini famous. Buddhism, kanang si Buddha good, and Confucianism, that's part of kining kuan Confucius. Taoism, kani gibuo gyapon na nila, and mga Shintoism. So yan ana siya. That's the famous religions in the world. Okay, remember, ang religion is part siya sa one's ethnicity. So influence how a person would interpret and interact within the world around him. Some religions have one superior beings, others have more than one. So sa Catholic and sa Islam na lang sila isa, sa Islam si Allah, and sa Catholic na si Jesus. As a Christian, because sa tanang Christian they believe in Jesus kasi. So others only subscribe to spiritual beings, kanang mga ano lang siya, kanang mga ano lang good, kanang like mga pagans, or kanang mga ginagmay lang ng mga kanang mga basta dili to mga superior ones na pagyapon nag-exist ana karon. So social implications of diverse ethnicities. What are those social implications? O say mga resulta ana sa society? As much as the concept of ethnicity propagates the idea of being one at the same with people whom you shared cultural traits, it also strengthens differences among ethnic and cultural groups. In some cases, these differences may lead to conflict and issues. Anuman, each ethnic groups may develop prejudice and stereotypes. So yung ana siya balay lahi sila o kanang kuan good sa kalahi-lahi nato og culture, it can develop prejudice and stereotypes, kanang ano good, kanang superiority, kanang mas ano amo ang kuan kay mas isog amo ang ethnic group, so ang weak man ninyo ang ethnic group. So yan ana ba kanang, for example kami ana kini mansaka mi ana nya other kanang kuan lang mo kanang blaan lang, so kami ang mas superior nga group. So ano siya, mansaka lang ang malakas, so yun ana ba weak lang mo, weak inyo ang grupo. So yun ana ba, it can create chaos, it create problems. Prejudices are faulty or generalizations about the entire group of people that is based on the little or no evidence. So for example, when say prejudice kanang kumurag naay particular sila nga kanang nabal-an nato na diha nga grupo ba nga kuan na ilahang kanang ethnic manggod kanang nagakaon na sila og kanang dugo ana good kanang ana ba, pero we have no kining no basis, we have no that's ang ato lang mga nadunggan. So ingon ana siya ba, it can also create problems. Stereotypes are oversimplified assumptions that ascribe to a whole ethnic groups. Prejudice and stereotypes can either be positive or negative, although most are created condemn members of ethnic groups. Example ana is overgeneralization that kanang mga Muslims sa Mindanao are mga terorista. So that's an example ng prejudice and stereotypes. So such prejudice is created because terrorism and armed rebellion is associated with people living in Mindanao. So mao bitaw ng mga taga Luzon nga mahadlok na sila mag-adtog Mindanao kay na generalize naman good nila na tanang taga Mindanao is Muslim and they are all terrorists. So ingon ana sa ilahang label na ba sa taga Mindanao. So kaya ingon ana ilahang tan-aw sa mga taga Mindanao. Okay, which are most practiced in Islam religion. So these types of false judgments may instigate more intense conflict among different ethnic groups. So ano man jud tong mag-react man jud tong kuan mga tong mga dili affected kay ano ma-label man sila as ingon ana dili man sila ingon ana. So it can create chaos afterwards. So that's how part of social implications of diverse ethnicities in the country. So ingon ana siya. So differences among ethnic groups may also lead to minority groups. Collective groups of people who are singled out, distinguished, and treated as subordinates or inferior by dominant majority or majority group because their physical or cultural characteristics. Minority groups often experience different degrees of discrimination from the society which they are part of. So kanang gina-discriminate na ilang kuan kana sila kay mga kuan mo sila mga baho na sila glawas yan ana siya ba mga itom na sila mga kulot na sila. Such discrimination are maltreatment and present in the Philippine society, di ba? As you have seen, actually the Philippines is very judgmental country because of its people. So as some business of corporations evade the law in order to ancestral lands of some ethnic tribes in the Philippines to be transformed into business naunsa din ako kalitong investments. So, di ba katong lately itong mga according kay Cynthia Villar nga gina-convert ang gatong kuan. So basically part gapon siya sa ingon na because makita man gud nato sa Philippines ngayon ana siya naga-exist nang ngayon ana mga cultural kanang differences or kanang mga ideologies ideas nga kanang ana siya. So the Anti-Ethnic or Racial Profiling Discrimination Act of 2011 is approved by the Senate, which prohibits discrimination against race because katong wala pa ni siya nga akay naamang gyud mga uban nga mga companies nga dili sila nagadawat ana og mga ethnic groups dili ka sila nagadawat or ana kay siguro what dili guro sa kanang sa ilang personal but because of what society has labeled to be to them kaya nana. So ethnicities and religious affiliations in terms of job opportunities, distribution of social services. So di ba kinsa tong mga nasa bukid sila pa tong maiwit og kanang tag og mga ayuda ana. So usually nabay sa bukid katong mga ethnic groups. So improvement of standards of living. So in your opinion, how this ensure equal treatment members of ethnic groups? Can you evaluate the effectiveness based on your observations? So I will put this into kining quipper. Sige lang, just try to check lang your quipper account kay maghatag kog essay. So Francisco Alves Mendez Jr., commonly called Chico Mendes, is a Brazilian labor activist. So he was known for his active work protecting interests in the rubber tree tapers in the state of Amazon and his goal to preserve the Amazon rainforest. He helped in establishing union works against the deforestation of Amazon forest. He believed that preserving the forest and creating forest reserves will help peasants and indigenous communities to sustain their lives. A number of awards was given to him in recognition of his efforts to protect the rights of natives of indigenous peoples in the land as well as to protecting environment. In December 1988, he was murdered at his home in Sapuri where he died on the spot. So that's how the government works and that's how money works kasi. 'Di ba? And ano lang siya. So I guess that's the end of the discussion. So here are the questions. How minority groups discriminated in the Philippine society? So you have to cite concrete examples. What are the advantages and disadvantages of having diverse ethnicities in the country such as the Philippines? So just look in your quipper lang. I will put this question in the quipper so that mas accessible siya mag-answer sa inyo So ingon ana siya. So possible, sige daw, let's try to answer how minority groups discriminated in the Philippine society. So sige kamo na lang answer ani. So based ato atong mga ipang discuss atong mga ipang yaw-yaw nako, you can have those as an example. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of having diverse ethnicities in the country such as the Philippines? So, what are sa mga advantages o disadvantages nga natay daghan nga groups of ethnic countries here in the Philippines? So maayo ba siya or dili maayo? Sa may dulot niya sa ato. So, ana siya. So, I hope naga-study gihapon mo, nagapaminaw mo sa mga discussions because hapit naman atong exam. So, possible very possible jud siya nga exams nato dire jud gikan tanan. So, naay mga wala na sabtan, balik ko nimo tanaw ang discussion. Kung dili pa dyan nimo masabtan, you can ask question. Kung maulaw mo sa GC, you can actually PM kung na may mga pangutana, and we will try to handle that kanang question para mawala ang mga kalibog sa kinabuhi. So that's it for today. So and ana na siya, what it's kasi we are adjusting, and actually we are continually adjusting. So let's just understand lang na when we say kasi kani manggong type of online learning is self-directed pasabot. When we say self-directed kasi, teachers only give you supplements for learning. Ginatagaan mo yung supplements for learning, and kamo mismo ang mo help sa inyong sarili, kamo mismo ang mo discover sa learnings ninyo. So that's how this online platform works. So it's very self-directed. So ayun ana siya ang concept niya. So you will just have to focus and you have to manage your time. I-manage nimo imong time, tapos you have to understand lang that it's self-directed ang learning ani, ha? Okay. So goodbye everyone.